get into Round World, they could go there in their virtually their suit.
Yes.
But they couldn't actually be there. And by number 2, again for reasons of narrativium, they had to be able to go there, but they'd found a way in. And by the time I got around to number 3, Terry said, well, I can think of at least 8 different ways they can get into Round World, and some we've still not used. And you know, the technology advances, but Larry Niven said it got very difficult to write known space stories because he had so many wonder gadgets like stasis fields and so forth. If there was a plot problem, you said, okay, well, why don't you just put everyone in a stasis field and wait until somebody else has solved it?
Yes. Larry was, when we did the Grendel's book, The Legacy of Europe, and then the subsequent one, we had to do it in a different universe from known universe. For that very reason, there was too much accumulation of tricks in the known universe, and it had to be a parallel universe. You build up these things, and there we are. We've built up a lot in 1, 2, and 3, and we've got to carry it in 4. But as you saw from that nice bit of Rincewind on Earth, it's being carried very successfully by Terry. It amazed me the way he produced this story.
But yeah, about every couple of days he'd phone up and say, okay, I've done another 5,000 words, and here's roughly what's happened. Is that okay? Will your essays fit? Because Jack and I actually had to write our essays in parallel with Terry's writing the story, otherwise it would have taken far too long. So we all agreed roughly what it would be about ahead of time, and then we had enormous confidence we'd be able to make it fit together, which turned out, well, Jack and I wrote a few extra essays just in case, and then we selected the ones that fitted. But it worked. But he kept phoning up and saying, I think I've been wanting to use the DiscWorld equivalent of the Large Hadron Collider for a while. I'm going to start with that. Will that work? Oh yes. Well, that opens up about 5 essays for us straight away. And so, by the time he was 2 or 3 steps into this, then it was perfectly obvious we were going to have plenty of. The problem was choosing how to arrange things and so forth. But the speed with which he did it, while in the middle of, as far as I can see, about 16 other things, was extraordinary. And not just, what really impressed us was that he was willing to do it at all. Basically, something like 6 years ago, we decided we would do number 4. And we definitely decided we were going to do it round about 4 years ago, pretty much. And then, as we all know, things got rather difficult. And so it went on the back burner. And Terry being Terry was going to take it off the back burner at some point, if he could. We were confident of that. But he did, and he took it off the back burner at a point when he was up to his ears in work. Which is amazing.
It's amazing, but there's a sense in which it's logical. My first wife used to say, if you want something done, go to the busiest person you know. And in that sense, he could stop doing other things and write a bit of Science of DiscWorld form.
Yeah, he did say the nice thing about this one was that it came in little chunks, and a lot of it was courtroom dialogue and so forth. And so he didn't have to worry about a big picture and making things fit together. It was just a reasonably continuous, bit-by-bit narrative. And so I think that made it slightly simpler for him to duck in and out of it without having to spend 3 hours working out where he was before he gets started again.
Yes, these are fairly free-floating in that sense. So he could do it without being too determined about it.
I think we'll stop here.
I think we stop here.
Thank everyone.
Thank
you.